Hello there. Hey guys, welcome to the Mr. Wells channel. Thank you so much for clicking. Be sure to do all the subscribing, liking, commenting, all that as you go. If you please, if you don't mind, greatly appreciated. The Fantastic Beasts and Secrets of Dumbledore movie has just about came and went from the theatrical release. Overall, I think it's been about as good as you could probably hope for at this stage of the game with the Fantastic Beasts series. I know on the 30th, it is going to now start being, at home available both digitally and on HBO Max. So I'm quite looking forward to that, to, revisit the story, revisit the movie, and pick up on anything I might have missed out on at the movie theaters. But overall, it's still kind of up in the air with, what's going to be next regarding the Fantastic Beasts series. So that's really all that's new in the Harry Potter world, other than, there has been rumors and speculations and reports by multiple reports out there that the Warner Brothers, for those of you that don't know, just got purchased by Discovery Channel for a whopping $42 billion. A lot of cheddar to take over Warner Brothers, essentially. So now it is Discovery Warner Bros. The CEO of Discovery, now Discovery Warner, has put out there that he is interested in doubling down, or he's very interested in exploring more opportunities, with the creator, with the author, J.K. Rowling, and producing more Harry Potter content. There's been multiple reports again of that out there, so we don't really know anything at the time other than he is planning on meeting her soon to have this kind of new, again, it's a new company now essentially. So, regardless of how you feel about the author and about the Wizarding World or about Fantastic Beasts, the Wizarding World franchise is a multi-billion-dollar potential generating revenue franchise. So they would be fools not to consider all possibilities. Again, what that might entail, who knows going forward, but that's something, if you're a fan of Harry Potter, as we are, if you're clicking this video, then it's something to be excited about for sure. So we'll stay tuned and try to be up to date on those types of details. Moving on now to the point of this video, and I was kind of thinking this whole time with Fantastic Beasts 3, now in the rearview mirror, what's there to look forward to in the future, regarding the Wizarding World. And I've just kind of outlined that there's really not one in place other than video games and another Cursed Child studio production going into set. There's really not much regarding Harry Potter Wizarding World news, and I just could not pass up the opportunity to kind of dive into what I consider my first love, and that is Star Wars. And this weekend, by the time this video hits the YouTubes, we will be less than 24 hours away from the highly anticipated Obi Wan Kenobi series.
The key to hunting Jedi is patience.
And I just could not resist giving my thoughts and opinions on the show, and talking about the show and my thoughts, right around the corner. So just kind of shifting gears into that, as Darth Vader says, I've been waiting for you, Obi-Wan. We meet again at last. It's finally here. And I gotta say, this is the one, this is the one that I've been looking forward to the most. With everything that, now that Disney has, regardless of how you feel, they've at least established traction. They've at least had a foothold since 2015 in the Star Wars sandbox. And so now for us to finally get, I guess this would be considered the third streaming series to be airing on Disney Plus, and for it to be Obi-Wan, this is a pretty big deal for me. The character of Obi-Wan is very unique because he's obviously Alec Guinness played him in the original trilogy. Fast forward a couple years to the late 90s, early 2000s, Ewan McGregor as a young man comes on and reprises that role in the prequels. And, you know, without getting into the criticism of the prequels, he was one of the shining lights of the prequels. It's his acting and his emoting and his way that he's able to emulate Sir Alec Guinness from the original trilogies has really been a, you know, kind of a beacon in a way, and certainly a reason to go back and watch the prequels. His job as Obi Wan Kenobi was fantastic. So it's really exciting to see him pick up that role 10 years later, that much closer to Alec Guinness, and to see what he does with it, especially with what's, you know, happened to his character. So needless to say, I'm very much looking forward to this. I'm very my anticipation is just quite high. I mean, I really don't know how else to say it. So, which again is why I decided to make this video before, you know, the first 2 episodes hit and we really get the ball rolling with the show. So moving into, you know, directly into the show and what my thoughts are and maybe what I'm kind of thinking is going to happen. Sure, I have, again, expectations. I am looking forward to it. I kind of already have like an idea of how the show's going to go. I think we all, you know, fall victim to that, which there's nothing wrong with having expectations. You just have to kind of keep it in perspective and just try to remember that just because something isn't given to you the way you thought it was supposed to be doesn't necessarily mean it's the wrong thing or it's not, you know, it's not good. But there are certain things that I am, you know, looking forward to and certain things to keep in mind. And just to say it off the top, I just will declare that canon matters. With this show, it is going to be interesting to see how they do a lot of things, really, but just more importantly, how they structure certain events to what's happened in the original trilogy in order for it to just feel cohesive and not out of left field and not contradicting at the same time. There's obviously a handful of lines that Obi Wan Kenobi says to Luke or even to Vader himself in episodes 4 or 5 or 6 that is going to heavily, you know, involve what's going on in the show.
I've been waiting for you, Obi-Wan. We meet again at last. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
It's going to either fit smoothly or it's just going to be even more confusing. And that's not to say that this show's going to be the only one guilty of doing that. I mean, my God, I watched episode 4 last night, you know, just to kind of get myself in the mindset for this. And when Obi Wan Kenobi sees R2-D2 for the first time,
I don't seem to remember ever owning a droid. Very interesting.
I don't recall ever owning a droid before, but it's R2-D2. Like, you spent how many years with, like 3-4 years with this droid? So like, you know, like it's already been kind of in a way established that some of the canon is on thin ice enough as it is, but I'm really looking forward to seeing how they take those lines. Like,
He's more machine now than man, twisted and evil.
Obi-Wan once thought as you do.
at this point in the story, I don't think we know for sure if Obi-Wan knows A, that Anakin is alive, and B, is Darth Vader. So for him to say he's more machine now than not, you know, how would he know that unless he, you know, met up with him like he's going to inevitably be doing in this show? I know there's a bunch of naysayers and not haters, but just already people that aren't on board with the idea that Obi-Wan and Vader are going to be meeting up in this show. I'm at peace with it. You can argue it both ways, but ultimately I'm on the side of the fence of let's see how this goes, and let's see how it goes, and B, hell yeah, like let's watch this. Yeah, again, thin ice canon, as long as it feels cohesive and doesn't completely just rock the boat and completely left turn in 180, you know, what has been said in the original trilogy, then I will be relatively pleased to see how they go about doing that. I'll just speak on it briefly. I am aware of the Reva spoilers. I'm not going to get into those right here, so don't worry about, spoilers and all that stuff. I just wanted to acknowledge that I'm aware of them, and without revealing anything, to just give my 2 cents on what I've heard is we just have to see how it plays out. I don't think, obviously, point blank, it's a huge liability, for what in the spoilers happens. But again, we'll just have to see how the characters respond in the situation and what actually happens. I will withhold my judgment from it. And if it's even true, if what the spoilers are true, I don't think it would be, like the worst thing in the world. I wouldn't be that upset about it. I would eventually come around to it and be okay, but I just wanted to throw that out there again, just to be like, acknowledge that I am aware of them, but ultimately probably won't be that bothered by it. Again, we'll have to wait and see. But moving on, another thing that I'm super excited about is the lightsaber fights. Obi Wan Kenobi, the character himself, has been involved in arguably the 2 greatest lightsaber battles that there are. The fight at the end of Phantom Menace with Darth Maul and Qui-Gon, and of course the fight with Anakin/Vader at Mustafar in Episode 3. So he's already been involved in 2 of the best lightsaber fights of the whole series. So to see what they've cooked up in that regarding lightsaber battling between the 2 of them and Reva and the other Inquisitors, it's going to be very, very enjoyable to see. That's the thing with the Mandalorian that you don't really have in your back pocket with, is a skilled duelist wielding lightsabers against Darth Vader and a handful of other. You just don't have that, in that show, because they're almost completely gone, except the Luke Skywalker hallway scene, which is really just unfair, for those droids. But so this is, obviously high on my list of what I'm really, really looking forward to. Another thing I'm really looking forward to is the flashback sequences. There's no reason why you would hire Hayden Christensen just to put on the mask, and because he's not even going to talk, because presumably James Earl Jones is going to do the voiceover. So there's going to be flashbacks, so it's going to further do what Episode 3 did for the prequels and establish their relationship even better and make it even more, I guess, emotionally tragic, from both their point of views whenever we jump back to the present, with whatever Obi-Wan's dealing with, and even who knows how far down the emotional rabbit hole they want to go with Darth Vader. That's a very, enticing, opportunity for them to proceed with. The whole idea of like Darth Vader, just obviously he's just so isolated physically, being constricted to that suit, to the mask. But how are we going to dive into what he's dealing with mentally? Is he going to have his own flashbacks to like Padme, or they're going to have to do that. I would just be willing to bet $100, even more, that's what they're going to do. So I'm just going ahead and call it right now, Flashback City. Maybe not, as on the nose as the first season of The Mandalorian, with like every time the armor was clanking that we jumped to a flashback. But I'm willing to bet that they're going to rely on that as a narrative tool in this show. Again, I just kind of addressed it regarding the flashback stuff. I see this show as being very emotional, very internal, and kind of very cathartic for both the characters, Obi-Wan and Vader. So just touching on what I said earlier regarding the flashbacks, I want to feel, I want my heart to feel what I'm seeing on Ewan's face, because he's a very good facial actor. He can act with his eyes very well. So I really feel like this is a tragic show. This is a tragic, moment in time for both these characters. Obviously Vader's probably tried to push, put a lot of distance, from his past and tried to move on. But what does that look like? What does that feel like? Same thing with Obi Wan. There's got to be so much guilt and just weight of tragedy and disappointment on his shoulders that he's just completely broken and lost. So I want to feel, that with him. I don't want to be just disappointed and mopey watching this, but I just want to be invested in the emotion. That's obviously one. There's going to be action and there's going to be drama, and there's going to be comedy in it. I mean, it's Star Wars. It's still all for kids, but it's going to hit. I feel like those emotional beats of sorrow and despair and loss, which I think is perfect for this show again. So that's another thing I'm really looking forward to. All right, so we're going to wrap up this video with my final, predictions. We'll call it final prediction cameos. So I have written down here a handful of names, and I'm going to throw out my percentages of just what I feel like is going to pop up regarding these characters. Starting off at the top, Jar Jar Binks. I watched an interview with Ewan McGregor maybe a couple days ago where he was talking about, it was fun to be in Return to the Cast, and maybe the interviewer asked him a question in a certain way, like, who would you like to work with again? And he's like, it'd be great to work with Ahmed Best. And he just kind of smiled a little bit. I took that as a clue that in those flashback sequences, I don't care if he's 50 yards in the back, or he just kind of walks in front of the camera. I feel like Disney and that Jon Favreau are in tune enough with the fans to know that we would lose our minds just to have, like a split 2-second sneak peek of Mr. Jar Jar Binks. I'm going to set that at 51%, that it is more than likely that we will see Jar Jar Binks in some capacity in a flashback sequence. My next character would be Leia. Now, again, there's a bunch of naysayers and a bunch of people that are disgruntled that like Obi-Wan shouldn't even get off Tatooine. But we know by now, if you've read synopsises or seen the trailer, that Obi-Wan does leave Tatooine for whatever reason we yet do not know. And I have a feeling that if for that character, to have a reason to leave Tatooine, the only purpose, he could help other Jedi that are in trouble, but I think like a really good compelling argument to get Obi-Wan off of Tatooine is to have Leia in trouble, that he has to go and he's like the only one that can help her out because he kind of knows the full picture of her background, and therefore and is force sensitive, so would have to in some capacity try to tune in his force capabilities to track her or to find her and save her for whatever reason. So I'm putting Leia at 95%. I'm pretty confident that we will see Leia in this show. That, kind of veers right into R2-D2 and C-3PO. Because you almost can't have one without the other, with Leia and, I'm blanking on the name, Leia's adopted dad, Bail Organa. Ooh, almost lost it. But I have a feeling that if we're going to have Leia, once her, side story adventure is kind of wrapped up, there's a small chance that R2-D2 and C-3PO will be there. We'll have probably 1 or 2 lines of dialogue. I mean, Disney just can't resist doing it. So we'll see. I'm going to set that at 30%. It's on my radar. It might not happen. Maybe Disney's been like, we've done that one too many. A lot of people were iffy about it on Rogue One, of that being, Cameo City and Easter Egg City. So let's just hold off on the R2-C3PO. But then again, who knows? This one, I actually just wrote this one down like literally 20 minutes ago, right before I started recording, because I was thinking about the flashback sequences. Baby Yoda himself, Grogu. Again, this would only work, it really would only work if you do the flashback sequences. We actually got a flashback in, what was that? That was the Book of Boba Fett, where you had Baby Yoda's perspective and seeing the clone troopers come in and I think 2 or 3 Jedis getting wiped out. I think that was deliberately thrown in there to play into this show, this Obi Wan show. We're basically going to see the extended edition of what Baby Yoda saw, and have, you know, Hayden Christensen just kind of walk by with Baby Yoda, Grogu, you know, hidden in a corner, hidden under some blankets or something. So I set that at 40%. You know, it's on my radar. Do they need to? They don't need to. It doesn't, you know, really serve a narrative purpose, you know, so we don't need to see him. But again, it's Baby Yoda. It's Star Wars, you know, Kathleen Kennedy and the Disney, you know, they would like to see Baby Yoda in this. I'm sure they would, just to sell toys and to say that he was there, just to get, you know, more subscriptions. So I set it at 40%. Next on my list, this one, you know, again, with expectations and kind of already having the pictures in play, you can't talk about Obi-Wan being isolated in the desert without talking about Qui-Gon Jinn. I mean, my God, the last time we saw Ewan McGregor, Obi Wan Kenobi, training I have for you, you know, from Yoda to Obi-Wan regarding Qui-Gon. I know that Liam Neeson, I know that he's kind of taking the Andrew Garfield approach.
Like, I'm not the werewolf. I promise you I am not the werewolf. I did not get a call.
Regarding his involvement or not involvement with this story, so we'll have to wait and see. I feel like he narrative-wise, it serves the story for him to show up in this and kind of, I guess, shake Obi-Wan out of his rut of feeling, you know, sorrow and despair to, you know, it might be his enticing inside of instant to get Obi-Wan, you know, kind of back on his feet again. So I set Qui-Gon Jinn making an appearance at 51%. Actually, you know what? I'll go ahead and bump that up, 60%. It honestly should be higher, but I don't know if I believe Liam Neeson or not regarding his involvement. But I'm gonna go with 60%. I feel over a majority of confidence that he will make an appearance. Moving on again. So my next character, again, this kind of falls back to the idea of flashbacks and emotion and all that kind of stuff. I have Padme. Now, obviously, Natalie Portman, you know, she's done finished with the new Thor movie, so they're probably gearing up for her and, you know, marketing that film. I mean, my God, it only comes out in a little over a month, you know, the beginning weeks of July or something. So, so specifically new footage of, I'm saying new footage of Padme. It'd be very easy to copy and cut and paste, you know, prior existing footage that we've already seen in episodes 1, 2, or 3. But I'm talking about new footage, new dialogue, new something with Padme. I don't know how on board of, you know, an overall experience Natalie Portman had with these movies. I don't think too favorably, so I don't know how out of the way she would have had to have been enticed to come and make an appearance just for the sake of having a flashback emotional thing. They, you know, I had it set at 15%, but the more I'm talking about it, it's kind of going lower. So I'm going to actually set it at 10%, that there is new footage of Padme, but I at least wanted to acknowledge it and put it on my scope. Next, moving forward, is Ahsoka. Again, easily could do a flashback and have Ahsoka. I don't think it would make any sense at all to have Ahsoka appear at present day with the story. You know, just kind of randomly walks up to Obi-Wan's hut and, hello there. That Vanity Fair article just came out, you know, a couple of days ago. So Disney's, you know, it's very aware that Disney's trying to instill this idea of a connected universe, specifically pertaining to their streaming series. Again, Ahsoka, less than 5%. Sure, you could do a flashback of her, but then you'd have to de-age and kind of tweak her face and all, and she's already like a non-human being, so it would just seem like an overcomplication just for a 5-10 second flashback sequence. So I'm gonna go less than 5%. My last prediction would be a unmasked Vader. I know that the trailer had him suited up, arms screwing in, the chest plate coming on, And we got a little tiny sneak peek of Vader unmasked in Rogue One from the side when the tank started lowering and it was really foggy. And they very clever, you know, camera trickery there that they did. But I'm talking about a full frontal, facial, oh my God, shut up, Thomas, of Hayden Christensen, in a way, kind of like how Rebels Season 2 ended, where like his mask got sliced and you saw like part of his face. I would say about 49% that they will take it that far. You know, obviously they bring in Hayden back, which tells us that they're gonna do flashbacks. Hayden's gonna be in the suit, he's going to be fighting, but are they going to remove that helmet and really show Hayden Christensen, Anakin Skywalker, in that suit? Again, you have to ask yourself, narratively, does it make sense? We'll have to wait and see, but if I was to bet, I would bet 49% that we will see that. It just doesn't, to me, doesn't need to happen. Again, it's cool enough to what we've already seen with him, you know, getting kind of put together, kind of like the Iron Man suit in Iron Man, but I think they're still going to hold off on that. Again, it's might be a little too scary, a little too creepy for the kids. They might do like like Rogue One, where they had a side shot and made it all foggy and cloudy, but I don't think that they'll do a full, yeah, I'm not even gonna say it. Well guys, there you have it. That is my overall thoughts on the upcoming Obi Wan Kenobi streaming series set to come out this Friday, May 27th. Again, Star Wars Celebration is coming up too, so hopefully we'll get a lot of awesome, you know, Star Wars related content. Hopefully, you know, zooming all the way out back to Harry Potter, hopefully there'll be some Harry Potter news in the pipeline in the next foreseeable future, just to, you know, kind of get the blood pumping again, you know, get us excited for something, you know, something. Again, there's so much opportunity that exists in the wizarding world. Just look, I hope that, what's it, Zagloff? David Zaslav, I think is his name. I'm sure he is aware of what the MCU is doing, what Star Wars is doing, and just the wealth of potential that exists with the wizarding world. But guys, I want to know what you guys are thinking about with Obi-Wan. How excited are you, you know, for this weekend and for the next weeks that follow? I mean, my God, we are about to get the first 2 episodes on a Friday, episode 3 on a Wednesday. I mean, we're about to get 3 Star Wars episodes within 5 days. So that's what I'm most looking forward to. Guys, drop a comment below, and as I said earlier, be sure to subscribe and look back. I'm trying to make updates as frequently as I can. But without further ado, thank you so much for checking out, and I hope all is well, and may the Force be with you.